I cannot believe, I always say you never know day to day what you're going to get with Lori Vallow Daybell, and another morning of finding out exactly what you don't expect. Or maybe I should say, would we expect anything less? Would we expect anything less of Lori than a handwritten letter explaining that she's terrified of the judge, that she's being forced to come to court, and that she is not being given water or other necessary human needs, which would be upsetting if she wasn't. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it. So I'm here with Grayson.
Hi.
She's looking at her phone. She's reading. We're going to take you through this. Before we begin, though, and tell you what came down in her handwritten motions from behind bars, Lori, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And we're going to post the full letters on our YouTube community post soon. Have we done that yet? Not yet, right?
Not yet.
Yeah, we've been talking. Before we get into it, I will just say a little fangirling moment. We got out of our Uber this morning, and right when we got out, who were we right in front of?
Judge Boreski.
Judge Boreski. And he was smiling, and so I said, "Hello, Judge Boreski," and he said hi back. And that's all. And then we continued on our way. But I realized I was like smiling as we left. That's what I noticed. I was like, I had the biggest smile on my face. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm fangirling a judge. He was in a shirt and tie. And yeah, all right. So then we walked into court and realized that this is big. This is big. And we had to come out and tell all of you what's going on. So here we go. Hello, Julie Hunter. Ready for the circus to start. All right. So first off, there were two handwritten motions. The first one, she was wanting to, this is good, guys. She was wanting to recuse Judge Green. Who's Judge Green? Judge Green is the one that refused to recuse Judge Boreski. Remember how they turned that over to another judge? I mean, talk about not knowing when to quit. So now it's like, okay, we're just going. So Judge Green is going to have to give that to a different judge, maybe?
She already did.
And so then
denied
that. And yeah, read the denial. This is good. So just to remind you, Judge Boreski, she asked to recuse Judge Boreski. So Judge Green takes that motion because the judge can't make a decision on that if she's, saying that there's been judicial, misconduct. So Judge Green takes it over. Judge Green denies her motion to recuse Judge Boreski. And so now she's trying to recuse Judge Green. You can't make this up. So Judge Green has to hand this to another judge that's not involved. And that judge is, and by the way, I have Grayson here. Grayson, my producer, is here with me. She said she'd help me go live because we're going to have to read a lot. I have middle-aged eyesight. And we have a phone, and she has young eyesight. So she's going to read a lot of this. So will you read the objection from this judge? And who's this judge?
I think it's Judge Wein. It's Wein.
Okay.
And it says Rule 10.1B1 provides that a party may not file a motion after a hearing or trial begins. A jury was impaneled in the 2022 matter on June 4th, 2025. Trial in the 2021 matter has concluded. These motions, therefore, ultimately are untimely. For these reasons, defendant's request to remove Judge Green and Boreski for cause is denied.
We both smile.
What's new? She's crying. All of her motions are denied.
Denied by a third judge. So I'm thinking tomorrow we're going to get a handwritten motion requesting to recuse Judge Wein, Judge Green, and Judge Wein is going to have to pass it to the next judge. And soon we're going to have in the entire Maricopa County judge crew all denying each. It's amazing. So the cycle continues. It's so funny to me. Yeah. So all three judges are dark now, and she's going to have to now recuse Judge Wein next. We'll wait for that to come down tomorrow. Okay. Next motion. I want to read this whole motion out loud and talk about it because Guys, it's written by Lori in very fancy handwriting.
Pencil.
She took her time, pencil, handwriting, very clear. Can you just read this and then we'll talk about each thing?
Yeah.
Because guys, this is good. So this is us reacting. This is Hidden True Crime reacts to Lori's latest antics, Lori's latest motion that came down.
Okay, so this is titled Motion to Dismiss Abuse of Discretion Hearing Requested. And in the memorandum of points and authorities, it says, sorry, I'm going to zoom in.
Yeah. See, it's not just me.
USCA Constitution Amendment 14 provides that on a defendant's motion, the Maricopa County Court of Appeals or Supreme has jurisdiction in ordering the dismissal for abuse of discretion in violation of Code of Judicial Conduct, Canon 123. God, she's been saying that a lot, by Judge Justin Bresky. On June 2nd, the defendant is in pain and suffering from a virus that her defense team members are ill to assist in her trial. Judge Bresky used by all means necessary to bring the defendant to his court. On June 3rd, Judge Bresky ordered CHS at MCSO Estrella to perform an evaluation on the defendant. Many tests were taken, but many tests were sent out for testing, so results were not available. On June 4th...
pause really quickly. I want to say there were results that did come back, and he said she's not sick.
They said clinically she has one thing, otherwise move forward.
Yeah, but I guess there were other test results pending. Like, what was she getting? I don't know what else besides COVID and the flu. But okay, anyway.
Well, clearly she didn't have that because she was there.
Okay.
On June 4th, the defendant was again brought to court per the request of Judge Bresky. The defendant was diagnosed with a virus. Wear your mask. MCAO Joseph Vigil for MCSO read the defendant's medical record per Judge Bresky's request, violating federal, which supersedes state law. The defendant's confidential and communication between doctor-patient was intentionally violated. Intentional. She doesn't even write in the proper terms. Intentionally violated, illegally obtained without consent or waiver, per request of Judge Bresky to MCAO, MCSO, Estrella Administration, and CHS, and read to the media as well as the public. We didn't hear anything. All we heard is she is fine.
Someone just suggested she has delayed-itis.
Clearly.
I'm sorry.
We didn't hear anything. I remember being like, what does she have? They're like, she has one condition. I'm like, could you give us a little more? I just want to know. Like, come on, what is it?
Right. They haven't told us anything. We've all been speculating together. We're like, they're doing a really good job with HIPAA because we don't know anything. And so the fact that she can write in that she has a virus and none of us know if she does or doesn't pretty much shows that we have no clue. Does anybody know? Because I even doubt that. I'm like, they haven't said she has a virus. They said she has a condition, which, as many of you pointed out, might be menopause. I mean, I don't even know if it's...
Clearly, this virus is impacting her ability to write in the correct terms. Reading this is like reading when you're teaching a 7-year-old how to write. And you're like, it's read, not read.
Thank you,
like,
Sam.
Gosh.
Thank you, Sam.
This is hard. Okay. Anyways, continue. Judge Bresky was immediately served on June 4th, 2025, as well as Chief Judge Green with a Rule 10.1. Both have multiple violations from violations of abuse of discretion, altering federal laws, bias, prejudice, and Canon 123. Judge Bresky refused to remove himself. He forced the jury selection to proceed. Judge Bresky
did force the jury selection to proceed. He did.
He forced the defendant to take medication, abusing his discretion.
Okay, can we talk about that?
Yeah.
First off, heaven forbid, like, okay, you have a virus and you don't want to take medication. Like, first off, that, like, let's not even talk about, like, that confusing aspect of this. You know, if I had a virus and I was representing myself, I'd probably, like, get me medication as fast as possible.
They're letting her carry it on herself. I don't think you get to do that. I think you might actually be able to have Tylenol in jail, but, like, whatever. Like, they're giving her time. They're like giving her rights. She wants rights, and they are giving her rights, and she's complaining.
Right. They're saying you can keep the medication on you. It's up to you. Typically, that would never, ever happen behind bars, but here you go. Carry it with you. But do you remember, I want to bring up this one part because you and I both noticed this. It was before the trial began, and it was during jury selection, but the jury wasn't in, right before voir dire. The judge said to Lori, do you want some Tylenol? Do you remember that moment?
Yes.
And her counsel kind of got feisty and said, you can't force her to take this. And he was like, I'm not forcing her to take it. I'm like offering it to her.
Yeah.
And so, like, we actually saw with our own eyes the judge not forcing Lori to take medication. He went like this, Judge Bresky went like this, and like just kind of walked out.
Like he was trying to help, and she was just fighting him.
Yeah. And if you're about to represent yourself, you have an alleged virus, and you're refusing to take a mask and refusing to take medication. Help us help you. And she's clearly not willing. Okay, Go ahead.
Okay. On June 5th and June 6th, the defendant was forced to proceed by Judge Boreski, denying and depriving her of her constitutional rights. She was deprived of water. We'll get there. And proper medical care.
You don't want to stop now and talk water? No.
Let me finish this. Okay, Judge Boreski's demeanor, attitude, body language, and behavior by June 6th was a blatant violation of Code of Judicial Conduct Canon 1, 2, 3. Throwing the defendant out of her own trial because of his explosive behavior was under control. The defendant was in fear of Judge Boreski. This is on court TV. This is on court TV. Oh my gosh.
Which means hidden true crime too. But that's not a reputable media agency.
Sorry, so not reputable.
Okay. First off, we'll get to the water thing.
Can we just get to the water now?
Let's get to the water now, but I can't believe what she just said about being afraid of Judge Boreski and his mannerism and his explosive behavior. So put a pin in that. Let's talk water, though. Okay.
She walks in every day with water. I've even told you something.
Guys, I have my phone on Do Not Disturb for these lives, but guess who can override the lives? My husband, John. I think I'm going to have to take that back while we're live. Text John right now. Tell him to stop calling.
Yeah.
We have things to talk about. No, it's sweet. Dr. John. John always calls in the morning because he knows we're sitting in line. We're busy, John. Yeah. So, okay, you texted.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk. But before we get to her being afraid of Judge Boreski and his explosive behavior, let's talk water.
Yeah. Well,
that is confusing.
When I read that in there, I was like, she has water. There's a fly. Not fly round two.
PTSD.
When I read that in there, I was like, she has had water every day. I turned around, I asked you, I was like, do you guys see her with water every day? Because I do. And somebody in there was kind enough to say, let me go back and look, and has sent me multiple screenshots of every day. Day 1, 2 waters. Day 2, she drank a full water bottle between morning and afternoon and still had one in the afternoon. So like, she has water. I don't understand.
She even has bottled water.
Diabetes.
Diabetes, Brenda. She even has bottled water, guys. She has like,
she's like Sam's Club water. I'm like, I didn't know you get that when you're in jail.
Yeah, like you think that they should be giving her a cup from a faucet, the house water, the courthouse water, bring it. But no, she's got her bottled water, and she has 2, and we watch it, and she drinks a whole 16 ounces before the day is over.
I don't know. She has water. Moral of the story is she has water.
That's on court TV.
I was just going to say.
Are on court TV?
It's her water bottle.
Her water bottle. Her multiple water bottles from Sam's Club. Yeah, like she's got it. It's good.
Let's talk about fear.
Okay, let's talk about fear. Well, first off, let's talk about this. After her explosive behavior in the court in front of Judge Boreski when he's like, get her out, she came back and she apologized, which is what you should do. I'm sure her counsel counseled her to apologize. That's what you do. I also want to point out that you should be afraid of a judge. You should be afraid of the judge because he's the judge. At least respect the judge. And so she comes back and she apologizes. That's good. Oh, good job. Good job. But no, just like her father, Barry Cox, who spends time in prison after defrauding the IRS, he gets out of prison, and what does he do? No remorse. He writes a book about how he's right. Like, this is like some genetic thing going on here, because that was good that she apologized. Nothing better could have happened. But she can't handle it. She can't apologize. Like, she has to say, you know what I'm going to do sitting in my cell tonight? I'm going to write that I'm right and he's wrong, and take back that apology and say it was his explosive.
It's the right and righteous thing.
The right and righteous.
She's like, she's the right one. She's good.
It's like she like has like, you know what her virus is? Oh my gosh, I apologize. I said sorry. I gotta take that back. I gotta take that back.
If you're in fear, you're not yelling at somebody that you're fearful of.
Right.
I'm not yelling at anybody I'm fearful of. She's yelling at him in the court.
That's why you're yelling at me right now. You're not afraid of me.
No.
Thank
She's
goodness.
no, she's yelling at him. So she's clearly not afraid of him. Like something, I don't know. She keeps going. I always think she's going to be done, and then she just goes again and goes again and goes again.
And again and again and again.
Are you done?
Are you done?
Okay.
I know.
Should we read the last point?
Yeah. On Lori's last point.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth. Okay.
On June 7th, the defendant was informed she has a virus and bacteria infection because she was forced to go to court.
So she got the virus and
No,
bacteria infection from going to court?
There wasn't really like a period here.
I remember reading
but
this.
I think she put a capital B on because. So let's phrase it for maybe what it should be, not what it is. I don't know. The defendant was informed she has a virus and a bacteria infection. Because she was forced to go to court, she is dehydrated. In the court trial, she is deprived of water and she is not properly healing. Please review case file and rule 10.1 filed. And then she does a conclusion on what she would like them to do. Come on.
And interestingly, none of us can know if she's really sick or not because they made us all leave because of her rights. Because of her rights, they protected her medical records, right? We don't know what was said, what's wrong with her. And so what does she do? She uses that to her advantage, writing a motion saying she has a virus and a bacterial infection. Like, think about how manipulative that is. Because the court is giving her rights and they made all of us leave and none of us can know what's wrong with her. She gets to then, I mean, is this not so Sarah Boone? That's what I think of. This is like Sarah Boone, like knowing like, oh, I know that the media is going to see this, so I'm going to let them know because the court didn't let them know because of my rights. I'm going to let the public know that I have a bacterial infection and a virus because the court won't let you know. And then I'm also going to blame the court for like sharing my medical records so that it keeps them from actually telling the public what's really wrong. It's so manipulative. Think about it. It's such a way to get control. We're all left wondering what virus and bacterial infections she might have, but the court can't tell us because of her rights. And then she adds that they're violating her rights by sharing anything with the public. So their hands are double tied and they can't tell us whether this is true or not. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, somebody said bacterial and virus are two different things, which actually I think is true. I'm not a doctor, but I think I remember being told that.
And can we talk about how she's not wearing a mask?
And she's coughing all day. The coughing is, she magically coughs when people are talking about things she doesn't like. But like, she does have a mute button up there. Like, common courtesy, first of all, wear a mask at this point because nobody else wants your sickness. Second of all, as she hacks next to her advisory, like, they've been through it, man. Dealing with her for as long as they've dealt with her, and then she's hacking on them. Like, I'd be done. She doesn't cover her mouth when she coughs. But then she has her little mute button. Like, press the mute button as you do it.
Right. I have a mute button too when I go live, and sometimes I don't catch my cough, but that doesn't count because flies are a whole other thing. I don't have time to hit the mute button sometimes. But other than that, I also try to hit the mute, and it's usually, the cough usually happens suddenly without the mute button when I'm talking. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, hit the mute button.
Well, that was denied. There. Conclusion denied. Didn't rise to it. I don't really have any sympathy for her. I don't have anything. I hope she gets sicker. Like, come on.
Also, can we talk about how, like, this is a very important thing? Let's just talk about how entitled she is. Okay, let's give her the benefit of the doubt and say she has a virus, which again, wear a freaking mask then, or her advisory council should be. This is like a trial that's been scheduled with jurors and witnesses, and like, the show must go on. There are so many times at work or in our lives where the show must go on. Parenthood, when you're so sick, yet you've got to be there for the kids. When I remember,
Parenthood doesn't count for her. Like, that doesn't count.
Well, I know. Good point. Like, this is who she is. Or I remember reporting with pneumonia out in when I was in Idaho. I remember there was something that happened in a small town. It was a murder, and it was winter, and I was like gargling vinegar because someone told me that was a remedy to be able to get my voice out there. And I was sick, and I knew how important it was. Someone had to be there. And yeah, then I was later diagnosed with pneumonia, which wasn't great. But I mean, come on, just like put your shoulder to the wheel like your Mormon pioneers, ancestors. Show them what you're made out of. I don't know. Clearly, that's not her MO.
No. Should we go to motion 2?
Yes.
We'll be out here all day.
Yeah,
no,
sorry.
we have a little bit until we have to get in. Motion for recusal of Chief Judge Green. This is great. She's just moving through the judges.
So yeah, the recusal of Chief of Judge Green.
Okay. She spent a little bit more time on this because her handwriting is better on this one. So I'm grateful for that. Federal rule blah 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 provides that the defendant motion is requesting that Chief Judge Green of the Maricopa County Superior Court immediately recuse herself from any further proceedings of this defendants. On May 29, 2025, Chief Judge Green violated the defense due process by insufficient notice of hearing. Due process requires that the defendant receive notice of hearing. Judge Green, Judge Justin Bresky, the state, and MCSO failed to notify the defense, which above parties, in fact, significant time for notification. This deprived the defense. Because of the breach in notification, the defendant was deprived her advisory counsel, you're your own attorney, as a whole for guidance. As the defendant, advisory counsel was appointed by Judge Justin Bresky, who cannot recall appointing them on December 6, 2024. That's some shade. The defendant was left intentionally prepared by Chief Judge Green in an inappropriate hearing in the matter of disqualification of Judge Justin Bresky. The courtroom was dark and difficult for the defendant, but the defendant did answer her questions. Oh my gosh. Can you be any more dramatic, by the way? When Judge Green was stating her decision, she blatantly, with disregard, altered the federal laws, U.S. 144 for disqualifying a judge, and misapplied Rule 10.1 for change of judge. A judge's decision is certainly contrary to clearly established precedent if the state court applies a rule that contradicts the governing law, under absolutely no impression, rather verbally or in motion nor in rule, does not, and then she cites something, does not allow the bias or prejudice to be allowed to remain as presiding judge. In fact, quoting, bias or prejudice of judge whenever a party to any proceedings in a district court makes and files a timely and sufficient affidavit that the judge before whom the matter is pending has a personal bias or prejudice, either against him or in favor of any adverse party. Such judge shall proceed no further. Nowhere in this federal law does it state change of judge. Okay. And then she said she does more case law. And then, yeah, she's a lot of case law. And then she's
always case lawing it. She's like, she overdoes the case law.
I know. She accused Judge Green. Judge Green did such violation by misapplying and altering the defendant's affidavit, which is a document in which Judge Green was investigating. Judge Green allowed Judge Justin Bresky to remain on the defendant's case, knowing the multiple errors, his judiciary misconduct, misapplying governing laws, abuse of discretion, bias, prejudice, and violation to the Judicial Code of Conduct, Canon 1, 2, 3, say it with me, which Judge Green is currently in violation of. A judge must be vigilant and independent in reviewing motions. Judge Green and Judge Justin Bresky failed the judicial process in order to obtain a wrongful conviction and has violated double jeopardy when she altered the statutes. And then conclusion, she requests that Chief Judge Green of Maricopa County immediately recuse herself from all further action in the defendant's cases. She names the 2 cases. As above, fact-finding justify this special request for abuse of discretion. Denied.
Thank you, Grayson, for reading all of that.
That was a lot.
I know it was a lot. I appreciate it.
There were parts where I was like, should I skip? But then I was like, then people would be confused.
Yeah, just read it. Yeah, read the whole thing. So there you go. Someone also pointed out that I was sick during I did get sick during the Lori Daybell, or was it the Chad Daybell trial? I can't remember which one. But yeah, I came to court with a mask. And stood away from everyone and still, yeah, exactly. But I guess I wasn't representing myself, so I can't totally compare it. I wasn't, but I,
But
if you got to be there, you got to be there.
But you were reporting, and that's hard.
Yeah, show up. Show up. Also, I'm sorry, but I have no empathy for Lori because I want to say sit down, Munchausen, because everybody knows I have my suspicions. So I'm like, oh, how are you making yourself sick? I'm sorry, but I went there. Munchausen, show up in court, and who knows what you're doing to make yourself sick, like not drinking water. Why do I suspect that she is dehydrated? Because that'll help test. She's dehydrated. What else did she say she was? Dehydrated and
pain and suffering. She was in pain and suffering.
So I'm like, oh, Oh, okay. So you're making sure to not drink water. Is that it on your desk? I don't know. I have my suspicions. So
Yeah.
factitious disorder, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I like Munchausen.
People are asking no court today. There is court today. These were just motions that she had
there's
filed.
court today.
There's court. We're
today.
here. We go in.
Yeah,
We're going to
yeah.
go in a couple of minutes. There is court. These were just motions that she filed yesterday, and they've already gotten rulings on. So they look to be filed on the 9th. I don't have the document in front of me, but it looks like the ruling either came down first thing this morning or last night. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
There we go. There we go. Isn't she the best? She's changed my life, guys. She's the best. We are so glad. John and I are so lucky to have her on the Hidden True Crime team. So, and you guys have been so nice to her in comments. And I'm just like someone said, just like Dr. John was shy and me encouraging him, I'm working on Grayson. So thank you for reading all that and joining me today. It was big. She knew I needed help. So, all right, guys, we're going to go head in there and jump back in line. It's going to be a big day. So people, not only is there court today, there's absolutely court today, but we could be seeing, we could be seeing closing statements today. If you know, both the defense and the state rest.
Maybe Lori's on her way. I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, I'm kidding. Well, I don't think they heard that.
There was like a siren for a second. I said maybe Lori's on her way. In other trials, we've seen them take the defendant with sirens.
Right.
Bad joke.
Yeah, they don't get the red carpet, they get sirens. All right, we're going to go head in there, though, and we will be back for Lunch Live, or I will be back for Lunch Live, and then, of course, our recap later tonight, and we will do a bit of a recap on these motions, but today's going to be big, so plan on sticking with us all day. Come join us in our live stream, our live chat, where we have wonderful emojis. Admittedly, when I was like, hello, Judge Boreski, I want to be like, and we have emojis for you.
We did not say that. But maybe one day he'll find out.
Maybe one day he'll know. Or how about, you know, his quotes being our favorite.
Yeah.
You know? So I'll take a pass and are we done? And of course, we'll never forget Nancy Jo Hancock's don't flatter yourself.
I hope in sentencing he drops one final really good one-liner.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll just say, "You are done." Like that, and he just says, "You are done," and hits the gavel and walks out. How good would that be?
We can dream. We can hope. Here's to hope.
That would be like poetic justice right there.
Keep on dreaming. All right. They do come true. All right. We'll see you guys. We'll see you in there. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.